So is this Congressman Tim Burchett, who's at the center of the call.
Being open with the American people about what's going on in videos like this one.
You got to ask yourself, why would they lie about it?
Congressman Tim Burchett is joining a growing chorus of lawmakers asking the Pentagon to release what it knows about unidentified anomalous phenomena, also known as UAPs.
Joining us now, Representative, thank you for taking the time on your birthday, no less. Happy birthday. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I never thought I'd get to be 60.
Here you are. Representative, given the increasing numbers of individuals who are coming forward with claims about UAPs, do you believe the government can still credibly deny its involvement or its awareness?
Received a classified briefing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, commonly known as UFOs. It comes as lawmakers continue to push for transparency from the Pentagon. Joining us now is Republican Congressman Tim Burchett. He attended that classified briefing. Congressman is the chair of the UAP Caucus, member of the House Oversight Committee as well. Congressman Burchett.
Where I think Pentagon is going to be taking over.
Yeah.
I'm confused with it, man. Help me here.
You're not the only one. The Pentagon, of course, is valiantly decided they're going to take over all the research on the UFO phenomena, but it's totally bogus. I mean, they're just going to require more money from us, and they're going to keep it quiet. I don't trust the Pentagon. I never have. They are secrets upon secrets, and that's how they operated.
Hi, welcome back to Total Disclosure. My name's Ty, and I am the host and creator of the platform. Today, we're going to be speaking with my favorite Congress member, Mr. Tim Burchett of Tennessee's 2nd District. We're going to have a conversation that is an absolute blast and a must watch. In a world filled with uncertainty and skepticism, one congressman is daring to lead the charge for transparency on a subject that has captivated the imagination of millions: unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. Meet Congressman Tim Burchett from Tennessee, a figure who has emerged as a strong advocate for bipartisan efforts aimed at shedding light on the government secrets surrounding UFOs and non-human intelligence. As taxpayers in the United States, we fund countless Black projects, yet for years, the details have remained hidden from those who finance these endeavors. Burchett believes it's time for the government to be accountable to the people, to share what it knows about the phenomena that have sparked intrigue and concern for decades. In a groundbreaking move, Congressman Burchett spearheaded hearings where high-ranking military and intelligence officials, including David Grusch, testified about the United States' possession of non-human intelligence and their biologics, meaning we have technology and biological material not from this world. Grusch revealed startling information about biological entities, advanced technology, and even craft that defy our understanding of physics. His testimony has ignited a firestorm of debate, but it also raises crucial questions about the accountability of the United States government and the future of UFO research. What makes Burchett's efforts extraordinary is not just the revelations, but the bipartisan nature of his initiative in a time where political division seems insurmountable. He's bringing together lawmakers from both sides of the aisle, united by a common goal: transparency. The call for transparency resonates with many as the public demands answers about what lies beyond our skies, what lies beyond our reach. Burchett's commitment to this cause has sparked a national conversation, urging citizens to question what they have been told and to seek the truth. Now, there is a way we can achieve this common goal as a species without jeopardizing national security for the U.S. and any other country for that matter. This issue is larger than any one person. Factionalism is what is keeping us apart. Imaginary lines drawn on maps. The story of the Tower of Babel seems fitting. As mankind reaches up and gets too close to God, humanity is struck down, separated by language and other various barriers. In our modern day world, a world full of technology, we still battle internal and external threats. This topic is much more existential. What is our place in the universe? Why are we here? What is our goal? As Congressman Tim Burchett continues to lead the charge for greater transparency, one thing is clear. The pursuit of truth is a mission that transcends party lines. For the taxpayers, for the curious, and for the future humanity, the quest for understanding UFOs and non-human intelligence is just scratching the beginning of the surface. Today, I would like to introduce our guest, Mr. Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee. All right, and we're back on Total Disclosure with my favorite person in Congress, Mr. Tim Burchett. How are you doing?
I'm good, brother. Thank you so much for having me on. This is a real honor.
Oh, well, it's always an honor to speak to a Congress member nonetheless, but also just a really cool person. Listen, you've emphasized a bipartisan approach to the UFO issue. What strategies have you found effective in bringing together lawmakers from both parties? Because, I mean, we all know that right now the political discourse and breaking point it seems we're at. How is the UFO topic staying so bipartisan?
I think it's just a mutual distrust of government. You know, I mean, I say it all the time. Both parties are crooked as a dog's leg. You know, they just do it different ways, different definitions. But I think too that we've got to take it past of the point of flying saucers and little green men. We've got to take it to disclosure, because everybody agrees we need disclosure. People that don't believe in UFOs, don't believe in any of this stuff, they still want to know where we're spending the tens of millions of dollars. And I think that's our most compelling argument. It brings everybody. But I think in Congress, people have heard enough. They've seen enough. I've had members come up to me that have said that they've seen something and in their youth or in the military or just several years ago, and they are all curious. And then when the government says, when you have one department say they don't exist, and then you have another department says we've got a recovery team, you know, well, what are they recovering if they don't exist? And where's all the money going to? And then they say, well, they don't exist. And then they release a report that's so redacted, it just looks like somebody shot it with a 12-gauge shotgun. You know, just so many holes in it. It's pathetic. And that's why, I mean, what started me on all this, I've researched this my whole life. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. I was a little kid. I'd buy the magazines and, you know, and, but I would go to the library and they have the books set up, you know, to draw you into something. And I would do it. I would start reading about UFOs, and it just fascinated me. And it's, you know, I was walking down the street one day in DC after this report was supposed to come out, you know, who's going to blow the lid off of it. You know, it's the classic Washington, D.C. sidestep. They tell you how great it's going to be, and then they throw out this garbage. And I said it was going to be a redacted, and I said that's why more people believe in UFOs and believe in Congress. Ended up putting that on a T-shirt. I sold it on my website. It actually sells pretty good. I was speaking to a group of pastors a couple of months ago, and this guy unzipped his shirt and showed me, unzipped his jacket and had my T-shirt on there. And I was like, well, thank you. But, you know, it's just a complete distrust of government. And we do it, you know, I sit in this little meeting, some guy with a man bun, smart aleckly tells me that I don't know what I'm talking about. They don't exist. And then we ask him about specifics. Several members of Democrats, Republicans, specific instances. And he said, we don't have any data on that, you know, and so, well, why the heck don't you have data on it? You're supposed to be the expert. And then you bring in these guys supposed to be heading up some research angle. They couldn't even spell UFOs.
You know, it's sad. It's sad.
It's pathetic, and it is a cover up of some degree. Something's going on. It doesn't scare me. The truth doesn't scare me.
In lieu, ironically, in lieu of Elizondo's book, Imminent, coming out, a lot of, you know, it's kicked up a lot of the leaves in the community, talking about crash retrievals. And now we're hearing word of a potential program called Immaculate Constellation. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of Diana Pasulka, but she has a contact that works at NASA. And we all know that there's a lot of esoteric stuff going on there, with the names of the missions all the way down to the rituals performed before them, the whole Operation Paperclip thing. Do you think that there is a way to separate national security and crash retrieval? Because it seems like they're calling these things gifts.
Yeah, I do believe that, but I believe what's ultimately going to have to happen is we've got to have a strong leader in the White House that grasps the problem what's going on. And I've actually talked to folks. Well, I've talked to President Trump, but I'm convinced that if he's elected, that there will be disclosure and there will be much gnashing of teeth, because I feel like he gets it now. I think part of his problem in the past was he trusted people that were around him, and it was just too dadgum big for him to get a grasp on everything. And I believe this will be that opportunity.
So do you think that if Kamala Harris were to win the presidency? Now, I've spoken about this with multiple people, and I kind of want to get your gauge on it, because it seems that we're at one of the most critical elections in ever.
Yeah.
And it will determine the way the human race moves forward. Do you believe that is this election is the most critical of our lifetime?
I do, especially on this issue, because you're going to see more of the same apparatus in place that's telling us the same garbage that we just keep chasing our tail. One department says they do exist, the other department says they don't exist. We're in the skiff. We get briefed by these people that have a disdain for us, Congress, excuse me, Democrats and Republicans. And the frustration that comes from these meetings is just beyond belief, and the arrogance. And you're going to get that, and that's deep state. That's part of what the sewer that Washington D.C. is. It's not a swamp. I correct people on that. A swamp is something pretty cool. It's an ecosystem created by God that, filters water, provides life, and it's a sewer. It's man-made. There's no oxygen. There's anaerobic decomposition. That's why you smell sulfur, because it is just that. No oxygen, no air, no light, and that's what Washington D.C. is.
Absolutely. So after David Grusch's testimony, what specific actions do you personally and other members of Congress, what are your guys' plan to take further, to basically further investigate the claims regarding non-human intelligence technology that we may have in our possession, and talking to other whistleblowers? I assume that that's what you guys have been doing.
Yeah. Now, we've been stonewalled largely because of what's going on. I think we got more information out than anybody really realized we would. It was kind of information overload when Nancy Mace asked about the bodies or, entities or whatever. I can't remember the exact wording. But biologics. That and Grusch was pretty good about what he said. And so, we've been trying to get in the skiff with these people, and we've just been roadblocked. And again, I think we're going to have a change in administration, and folks are going to have some guts. And we're going to have to tell these departments we're cutting your money off.
Right.
We're just cutting your money off. And nobody has the guts to do that. There's a few of us, but very few. The Pentagon asked for so much money this last time, and then I think we gave them either 20 or 40 billion additional dollars they hadn't asked for. It's obscene. And, you have members of Congress whose families, members that work, I say work, I put that in quotes, work for some of these entities. And, as long as they're getting their six figures, they don't really care about anything else, just themselves.
Right.
And we're peasants, really. I mean, the public is. That's what they think. And there's an arrogance there, and the deep state is not the top administrator you see walking into a committee meeting, or the number 2 or 3 people that are these poor attorneys and staff people that are lined up behind them. it's somebody deep within the bowels of these departments that's been there for years that hold the keys to a lot of this information. And frankly, we don't have the guts to go after them, and I wish we did. I do. There's several of us that do, but
tell me if I'm wrong here, but siloing information, isn't that what got us into trouble with 9/11?
Yeah, and that's what this is all about. Is you're looking down the barrel of a .22 rifle, not like there's a bullet coming at you, but that's about your level of information. It's just that little diameter, and it parallels all these others, and there's no sharing of information. Part of it's arrogance too. Every department is smelling available dollars on. That's why they're coming out with UFOs exist now, is because they can chase those dollars because people are demanding they do something about it. I contend we've already done something about it, and we just need to turn loose the files and the pictures and the videos and the testimony and get with it.
Yeah, honestly, I think no one says it better than you, honestly.
And I'll tell you this, I'm not, just for the record, I'm not suicidal. So if you find out today when I was out knocking on doors on my reelection, I get shot in the back of the head 12 times, I did not commit suicide. That, these, and I'd say that jokingly, but there's a lot of, I was told that I'd kicked a hornet's nest when this went down by a very high up person. And so I think that we need to address this soon and quick.
Right. And it's not like, we know for a fact that other countries like China, for instance, one of our main competitors economically, they're handling the issue of UFOs. Russia's most like, they're all, if we've kind of gone past the point of they're real or they're not real, they're real. So we have to assume that other countries like China, who do not have any side rails or oversight, they have an advantage over us. So David Grusch referred to another kind of Cold War. Have you found any gravitas to that, or anything that backs that up?
Yeah, whoever gets the information first, obviously, is the one that's going to win. But also, there's something to be said if you've got the information to hold on to it, especially if you control the technology we use today. So, it would put. I think that this could put a lot of people out of business. It would devalue energy that we have here and the technology and the people and the apparatus that puts it in place. We wouldn't have all these worthless wars over a barrel of oil in the Middle East and in the military industrial complex. And people have been critical of me calling them war pimps, but I think that's pretty complimentary from what I've learned.
Yeah, I'm
sick of it, man. We're 36 trillion in debt, and these people are just laughing at us.
Right.
They've got control of some really incredible stuff that we need to. I think if we came forward with it, there'd be an outpouring of support, and there would be more funding of the research of this than we know what to do with.
Yeah, what other topics in the world affect every single person? Because every single person in the world looks up to the stars and asks, what is my place in this vast cosmos? It seems that you've kind of found your place, and that is ushering in almost a new reality. 20 years ago, people said UFO and they got laughed out of the room. Now we're about to have more hearings in November.
I can't. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I can't tell you how many times I go into an event. I was in a campaigning for another colleague of mine, and it was at a very nice, swanky country club. And I sat between two older ladies. They were very classy. You could tell they came from some real money. And because they were dressed nice, but just not overstated. And I looked down and I noticed they were wearing some nice jewelry, but again, not overstated. And a lady said to me, leaned over and said, what about that UFO situation? And I thought, I always think immediately they're going to blast me on it. and she said, I said, yes, ma'am. I said, well, they're real. Something's going on. She says, I know they are. She said, I saw one, and she gave me the date of when her and her brother, she was younger. She was going to pick her brother up from school, and how this thing followed her in their car. And, and very similar, the description she gave was very similar to multiple other sightings that from military people from far back as the 50s that I personally talked to, not I've read or seen on the internet or something. And two, you got to ask yourself, why would they lie to me? What's going to be their purpose? And have they all corroborated their stories so that I would, that I'm going to get this similar thing? But the structure, the lack of noise and just the whole thing was just beyond coincidental. So something's going on, and I get a lot of well, don't you think it's the Russians? It's our secret plan. Some of it is. I mean, you see some of these airplanes we have out now, the wedges and things that that been flying around for quite some time before we came out. But yeah, some of it is, but some of these things, some of it isn't. Yeah, because if we had this technology, I mean, it'd be over. We wouldn't worry about any wars anymore against the good old United States of America. So I get, the more and more we're out talking about it, the more open people are. And I can't tell you how many leaders, local leaders, national leaders have confided in me about this, whatever they've seen. Yeah, very one of them. And I know people are talking to other members too, in their districts. Of course, I've been kind of a lightning rod on it because, it just ticks me off when I see this kind of stuff. And somebody, all they got to do is turn loose the files, turn loose the video, bring the people forward, let them talk about it to us. Instead of last time, we're getting knocked because we're not releasing the list of our people that are going to come forward. Because last time, we had about a dozen folks, and they were, frankly, several of them were scared off by whoever, and they backed out at the last minute, and we were told. In fact, they were told not to come, and so and then I get it. There's a lot at stake here, but we had 3 brave patriots come forward the last time, and and Grusch endured the spears from it.
Absolutely he did. And it's kind of bothers me how quick people seem to have forgotten what he said. And that's why I do think looking ahead, more hearings, all of that stuff is going to be necessary. But when it in your heart, deep in your heart, I know you have a very religious, side of you. Do you think the American people couldn't handle this information? Is there really that much of a strain?
I think they can handle it. I don't have any problem with it. I'm a born again Christian. I'm no saint. That's for dadgum sure. I mean, I've sinned quite a bit, just forgiven. But I just think the vastness of God's universe. You read the Bible, and Ezekiel saw the wheel. First chapter, Genesis, God created the heavens and the earth. I look up and see those stars, and the stars left there before the time of Christ. I mean, it's vast. I was somewhere, and I have some pictures. Somebody sent me some stuff, UFOs, I guess, and somebody asked me if I'd show it to their kids, and I did. And they were young, and it was a bonfire, and I pointed up, and I said, "You see those stars up there?" I said, "Yeah," and he said, "There's a great big universe out there." And I explained to him about light years and, the light. I said, some of those stars don't even exist anymore. And the light's just reaching us now. And, it's just more than we can comprehend. And I don't know how they travel. I don't know how they got here. I don't know. I've come to kind of change my viewpoint of them traveling. Maybe they traveled millennia ago or something, but I think, if you look at these deep water areas, I think there's something to be said for for that. There's a lot more activity around those, and we do have the Tic Tac video of going in the water, and I've talked to naval personnel that have expressed to me something big as a football field doing 200 miles an hour underwater, and we don't have anything that'll get a quarter of that. Even our secret stuff won't get a quarter of that. So, again, why would they lie? And I realize I'm getting some white flags. I'm getting people coming in that are told by whoever or just nutty and want to try to muck up the works. That's why I really don't go forward with anything that I get. I get pictures all the time. I get books and stories, and frankly, a lot of the pictures are just a cloud or something. I can't see anything in it, but I don't know that they, but I'm not going forward with these stories about abductions that I get or implants or, and there's a belief that they travel by mental capacity. They're just that far advanced. So I don't know. I don't get caught up in all that stuff. Again, that's a lot of things to chase. What do you spend the money on, and what do you know? It's my business. It's my government. I paid for it. I want the results.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that. I mean, that was perfectly said. So one thing I want to leave off with, I know you don't have a lot of time. I want to put to bed a little bit of a rumor. And I know, if you can't talk about it, it's okay. But there's been stuff going around about the James Webb potentially picking up signs of life in whatever, TRAPPIST-1, and Congress is being briefed on that. Is there anything that you can say to those rumors? Because they're circulating.
Yeah. See, I don't serve on the Intelligence Committee, and they'll never put me on the Intelligence Committee. I don't raise enough money to move up the scale too much in Congress. I don't kiss enough butt. But the reality is that they have, they might brief the Intelligence Committee, but I would find that I don't really trust that apparatus of Congress. I don't, Intelligence Committee, that's kind of arrogant. That's sort of like a military intelligence or congressional ethics. I'm not sure that it exists. All I can say is I have not been briefed on that at this point. And generally stuff like that leaks out, and it could be another department trying to send everybody down a rabbit hole. But I would think that I would probably hear about it because there's no secrets. Unfortunately, I would love, and I think it's I believe it's what is it, a satellite or a telescope viewing of something, and there's some footage of and that's a probability. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff out there that I've told, but there again, can you FOIA it, and will they hide behind national security? That's why I didn't like that Schumer bill. Everybody got on me about it, but they modeled it after the JFK and assassination stuff, and here it is, over 60 years since JFK was shot, and they still won't release it. So all that did, and they'll say national security, and that's what they always do, brother. They always say national security, and then they hide it behind that, and that's no way to be. And that's not going to help us one bit, because we won't get anything out. They'll dribble a little of this, that. They'll dribble out about 150 weather balloons, and then they'll put something in there. Well, there's this one we weren't really sure about. It's not even one that anybody had on their scope. So I don't have a lot of faith in those.
Yeah. So I definitely wanted to ask, because it's been something that's like on my mind. Because if I was a government and I was now, secretly pushing the agenda to slowly leak it out, if I was the government, this is what I would do: is I'd find life very far away and slowly bring it closer over a 10-year period. And, by that end, it's like, oh, by the way, we may be the aliens. We came from Mars. Who knows? There's so many crazy theories out there, and it's I love that you kind of just get down to brass tacks and so these hearings that we're hearing about in November, how likely are they with an election happening?
They're going to happen. Yeah, they're going to happen. It's just, first week of November is the election. So we get past that, then we'll give us about mid-November and something should happen. I would think. I'm not going to chair it, of course. I wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't ask me to. I thought I was going to chair the last one, and the day before I was informed that no, in fact, I would not. And it's just that hierarchy, that arrogance of Congress, and that's what they plan on too, because that kills a lot of meaningful good things. Because you got a chairman who gets or a woman that gets their feelings hurt, and then they just block everything, and thinking that they're the powerful. When the history of this country is written, I doubt I'll be a footnote. So I'm not really worried about all that, but I think some of them think they are, and when you're gone, you're gone.
Well, I think you ushered in a new, at least the conversation, and I think that's what people like Grusch, Elizondo, that's what you've given legitimacy to the topic so much as now, when you're talking about it over dinner, you can say, there are Congress getting involved. There's this person coming out and saying this, they held this position. These are all things that we can check. So, I mean, is on your radar, and this, I'll let you get out of here after this, but on your radar, is there any plans to say partner with civilian groups like maybe Avi Loeb and what he's doing to maybe go around the military industrial complex and kind of get civilian disclosure?
Yeah. Again, I want some physical evidence though. You bring me a civilian that's got physical evidence, you tell them to call my office.
Would you?
I'll get them in front of a committee if they can. I've had a lot of fakes though.
Right.
I've had a lot of fakes, and I don't. And it better pass a lot of tests.
Right. And if you were to,
they're going to do that to embarrass us.
Right. And that's what I always think about those mummies, the Nazca mummies, or whatever is going on with that situation. I do think it's a little weird, and maybe, kind of like a smoke screen to.
There's an ownership issue there too. They'd asked me to get involved, and I checked we have the best anthropology department in the country, not the world. Dr. Bill Bass, the Body Farm, and all that. I know Dr. Bass, his son. I grew up with Jim, his son. We're the same age. We grew up on the same street, Bennington Drive. Neither of us live there anymore, but occasionally see Jim at a ball game or something. But they, there's a question of ownership and ethical issues that go with those mummies. So until those things are resolved, then you're not going to see, I don't think, anybody from America, or at least the University of Tennessee, poking on them.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I really just I want to say this. People on the people watch the news. People watch whatever podcast it is. And it seems like we're at, like I said in the beginning of the show, is a very, very, it seems a little bleak almost, but there's a lot of pressure right now on getting it right. And I know you're doing your part in that. So, I mean, this election coming up, I think it's going to be one that dictates the future of humanity. And I just hope people understand that.
Well, I wish people put pressure on their elected officials. You don't have to be a jerk, but just say, hey, I'd like this just total disclosure on this issue. I want to know what we're spending all this money on, and don't hide behind national defense. Don't allow them that luxury.
Right. And I, again, for all your efforts in the UFO topic, the UAP topic, we all want to commend you. And, you said that you wouldn't be in the history books, but I say otherwise. I think you started a conversation that's going to revolutionize and maybe dissolve some of those imaginary borders that we draw on the map. And this could be the start of something new and something great. And you know, TMZ got you to start this somehow. So it's all kind of crazy.
Yep. Yeah. Well, they've been good friends since then. They've not abused me or anything or made fun of me. We have a little fun on the show, but you know, they've always been really professional, and I appreciate them for that, because I know they have a role, and it's the funny stuff, and they got to get clicks. That's their deal.
Yeah.
But it's always been truthful, though. That's the one thing you can say. You can't say that about some of the other news outlets. That's for dadgum sure.
And I think it's becoming apparent to them too that they're probably on their way out. And maybe that's a good thing. We need some change, right? We didn't ask the libraries when we created the internet if it was going to be okay. So the way I see it, change is good, and we need to be able to adapt and overcome. And that pretty much summarizes you. You've been able to adapt and overcome to so many hurdles, to so many challenges, to so many skeptics. So how do citizens get involved? How can they reach out to Congress and their congressmen and women to get this issue to be taken more seriously?
Well, get on the internet, find out who your congressman is. That's part of the problem too. You got 12% of the population or something voting, and you just use evangelical Christians, which I guess associated with it loosely at best, probably. They claim there's 40 million of them in the country that are eligible to vote, and less than 20 million will probably vote. Probably 16 to 18 million will vote. And they'll be the arrogant ones in the church sitting beside you asking you why you don't fix something, and they don't vote. And that's the problem. They don't vote. And the population doesn't vote. And the UFO community needs to make their voices heard. It's, the curtain's pulled back. We're not going to get another shot at this thing. If we don't keep pushing this, it will never happen. And you got to call your elected officials. Say, hey, I want disclosure on this. Why are you not a member of the caucus? And then get them to join it, and then let's work on it.
Let's work on it. And Tim, as always, you are amazing, an amazing person to speak to, an amazing patriot. And I just want to thank you for your service to this country. You swore an oath, and you continue to uphold that oath. And I just, I really look up to you, man. And I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Thank you, brother. I'm excited about the issue. Let's go after it.
Let's go after it, baby. Thank you for watching Total Disclosure. We'll see you next time. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And if you're listening on one of those great podcast platforms like Apple or Spotify, don't forget to leave us a review and head on over to YouTube so you can watch and see the amazing new studio that we're working from. And we have another conversation with Michael Schratt on crash retrievals coming up soon. So that's going to be amazing. Can't wait to do that. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.